Violations of HIPAA privacy are serious matters. You may face employer discipline as outlined by your employer or covered entity. You may face fines, and you may face civil and/or criminal charges. A $100 fine can be imposed for each individual failure to comply with HIPAA privacy rules. This $100 individual penalty may not exceed $25,000 a year for multiple violations of the same identical privacy rule. These penalties will not be imposed should the violations be due to reasonable cause and did not involve willful neglect, and the covered entity corrects the violation within 30 days. You can be held personally responsible for HIPAA privacy rule violations. Individuals who knowingly obtain or disclose PHI in violation of HIPAA will face a fine of $50,000 and up to a year in prison. Individuals who knowingly obtain or disclose PHI with false pretenses face up to a $100,000 fine and up to 5 years in prison. And finally, individuals who knowingly obtain or disclose PHI with intent to sell, transfer, or use for commercial advantage, personal gain, or malicious harm may face $250,000 fine and up to 10 years in prison. If at any time you are aware of a breach in the security or confidentiality of PHI, you should report it immediately to your facility's privacy officer. Any complaint or claim that there has been a breach in the confidentiality of PHI will be closely investigated. Appropriate corrective measures will be taken if the investigation shows that such actions are warranted. The privacy officer will make the final decision. Now let's ask, how do I report a HIPAA violation or complaint? HIPAA allows for two kinds of complaints about privacy violations. One is a complaint directly to the entity where the violation occurred and/or complaints to the federal government, which are received by the Office for Civil Rights, a department of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. To report an alleged violation directly to the entity where the violation occurred, ask for the entity's privacy officer or HIPAA officer. You will typically be asked to submit your complaint in writing, along with some basic facts about the circumstances. Complaints to the federal government can now be submitted over the internet. Just simply go to the website provided. A special division of the United States Department of Health and Human Services, called the Office for Civil Rights, is the right place to take your HIPAA complaint. Valid complaints will be investigated and acted upon by the OCR. By law, anyone can file written complaints to OCR. However, HIPAA complaints must meet criteria and certain conditions before the OCR can take action. Complaints must be filed in writing, either on paper, electronically, by mail, fax, or email. Name the covered entity involved and describe the acts or omissions you believe violated the requirements of the privacy rule, and be filed within 180 days of when you knew that the act or omission complained of occurred. OCR may extend the 180-day period if you can show good cause. Education with certification, anytime, anywhere.